There comes a moment in every woman's life, especially after 50, when her body begins speaking in a language she can't quite ignore anymore. Maybe it starts as heaviness in the legs at the end of the day, or a tightness in the hips that feels like it appeared out of nowhere. Maybe it's that subtle pressure in the lower belly, or a stiffness in the lower back that returns again and again, like a quiet visitor refusing to leave. Most women brush it off, thinking it's just age, hormones, or fatigue. But beneath these sensations lives a deeper truth, one that almost no one talks about openly. Your lower body isn't just carrying your weight, it's carrying your life, your stress, your long days, your emotions, your history, even the parts of you that have never had a chance to be spoken. And after 50, when hormonal changes, years of sitting, and the pace of life converge, this part of the body becomes a storage space for everything you've been holding. That's why women start to notice swelling in their ankles, tightness around the hips, heaviness when they first stand up, or that familiar bloating that seems to appear no matter what they eat. But here's the part most women never hear. Your body is not failing you. It's signaling to you. It's calling you back, asking for circulation, release, attention, breath, softness, and space. And today, I'm going to show you an exercise so overlooked, so gentle, and so deeply intelligent that many women have gone their entire adult lives without realizing how powerful it truly is. It's not a stretch reserved for dancers or yoga enthusiasts. It's not a workout that requires strength or flexibility. It's not even something that requires standing. In fact, it might be the calmest movement you've done in years. Yet this single practice can support your circulation, ease lower body heaviness, improve bladder control, calm anxiety stored deep in the pelvis, support emotional release, reduce back tension, and restore the kind of internal balance women over 50 often assume is gone forever. The practice is called the butterfly stretch, but it's far more than a stretch. It's a return to the body's natural rhythm. It's a softening of places that have been tight and guarded for too long. It's an invitation inward, a quiet moment of self-care that speaks to your muscles, fascia, nervous system, and emotional core all at once. Most women overlook it because it appears too gentle. But this gentleness is exactly why it works. After 50, your body doesn't need harder, it needs wiser. It needs movements that respect your joints, honor your energy, and restore circulation without strain. Imagine a ritual that could help your tissues breathe again, one that helps your hips feel open, your legs feel lighter, your bladder more supported, and your nervous system soothed, all in just a few minutes a day. Let's take a journey through what this exercise does for your body, mind, and emotional well-being. And as we walk through it together, I want you to treat these insights not just as information, but as an invitation, a doorway back to yourself. You may not realize it, but your inner thighs, the muscles known as the adductors, are like quiet guardians of your pelvis. Every step you take, every movement you make from the hips down, depends on them. Yet they carry more than movement. They carry circulation. They carry lymph flow. They carry emotional tension. When they tighten, which they almost always do with age, long hours of sitting, and years of stress, they become a bottleneck. Think about that for a moment. A part of your body that rarely gets attention is responsible for helping move blood, lymph, and energy through your legs and pelvis. And when those channels get tight, everything below and above starts to feel the impact. Your legs feel heavy, your ankles swell, your hips ache, your lower belly feels tighter than it used to. Sometimes you even get numbness or tingling in your feet, and the first thought is poor circulation, which is true, but the cause may not be where you expect. Most women try walking more, stretching their hamstrings, or doing general hip stretches, not knowing that the inner thigh muscles are the missing puzzle piece. The butterfly stretch gently opens these inner highways, restoring blood flow in a way that walking alone simply can't. What's more, your lymphatic system, your body's natural detox and immune support system, doesn't have a pump. It relies entirely on movement and muscle activation. When the inner thighs remain stiff, lymph flow slows, and your tissues literally begin holding on to stagnation. The butterfly stretch changes this. With consistent practice, women often describe feeling lighter, less swollen, more energized through their hips and legs, not thinner, lighter. The tissue itself feels different, as if it suddenly learned how to breathe again. And then there's the bladder, a topic most women whisper about, if they talk about it at all. After 50, bladder urgency, nighttime trips, pressure, or slight leakage become so common that women accept them as unavoidable. But the truth is, the pelvic floor and the adductors are deeply connected. When the inner thighs tighten, they begin to alter pelvic alignment. This shifts the bladder slightly, placing subtle pressure on the pelvic organs and decreasing the responsiveness of the pelvic floor muscles that help control bladder function. When you practice this stretch, you activate and lengthen the very muscles that influence pelvic support. Over time, this helps bring the pelvis back into alignment, improves the connection between the brain and pelvic floor, and restores tone naturally without needing intense Kegel routines or complicated programs. Now imagine going a full night without waking up to use the bathroom. Imagine feeling less urgency during the day. Imagine having more trust in your body when laughing, sneezing, or walking. Those aren't fantasies for many women. They're the results of simply returning movement to an area that has quietly carried them for decades. And still, the story goes even deeper. Your inner thighs and pelvic muscles influence the position of your pelvis, and your pelvis is the foundation for your spine. When the adductors pull the pelvis out of alignment, even subtly, it begins a ripple effect. The muscles in your back start compensating. Your hips begin to rotate differently. Your lower back bears weight unevenly. Suddenly, the ache you thought was spinal might actually be rooted in your hips. That's why so many women try back massages, heating pads, or strengthening routines only to find temporary relief, because the real issue wasn't the back at all. It was the tension in the adductors slowly pulling the pelvis inward. The butterfly stretch softens this entire chain, helping the pelvis relax back into its natural position. And when the pelvis finds balance, the spine follows. Your back breathes again. Your hips glide more easily. Walking feels smoother. Sometimes the simplest movements create the most profound structural changes. And then there is the emotional layer, something women feel, even when they don't have language for it. The pelvic region is one of the most emotionally sensitive areas in the human body, especially for women. It stores tension from stress, fear, worry, shame, or unresolved experiences. That's why tightness in the hips often appears during major life transitions. Menopause, loss, stress, relationship changes, aging, or emotional overwhelm. Your body remembers everything even when your mind doesn't. The butterfly stretch offers something women rarely receive: a safe way to release tension from this intimate region. When you sit in the pose and begin gentle movement, your nervous system shifts, your exhale deepens, your body receives permission to soften. And in that softening, emotions that were stored begin to move, not dramatically, not painfully, but quietly, like a weight slowly sliding off your shoulders. Women often report feeling calmer after this practice, or unexpectedly emotional, or simply relieved. That's the nervous system rewiring itself. That's the pelvic diaphragm releasing. That's your emotional body taking its first deep breath in years. In the middle of this video, let me pause and gently remind you, if you haven't already, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Here on True Senior Healthness, we combine science, compassion, and practical wisdom to support your most vibrant years, and you don't want to miss the guides, exercises, and gentle practices we share every week. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps this community grow, and it ensures you never miss what your body deserves to know. Now let's continue. Posture is something we all know we should pay attention to, but we often don't realize how deeply it impacts our health. Poor posture can compress the lungs, weaken digestion, increase neck pain, affect circulation, and even influence mood. But posture isn't really about your shoulders or your spine. It begins in your pelvis. When the pelvis tilts forward or back due to tight hips or weak inner thighs, the spine compensates automatically. You might round forward, lose height, or develop tension through the neck. With age, gravity amplifies this shift, making posture feel harder to correct. The butterfly stretch helps restore pelvic neutrality in a way few exercises do. By opening the inner thighs and relieving tension in the groin area, the pelvis naturally rebalances. Suddenly, your spine stacks more easily, your breathing deepens, your rib cage expands instead of collapsing. And without any effort to sit up straight, your body remembers how to carry itself with lightness. Women often tell me they look taller after practicing this regularly, not because they gained height, but because their posture became effortless again. But perhaps the most overlooked benefit is the sense of vitality it brings back to the pelvic floor. This area responsible for stability, bladder control, digestion, sensuality, and emotional grounding often goes dormant with age. The butterfly stretch reawakens blood flow, reactivates neuromuscular pathways, and nourishes this region with fresh oxygen. You may not notice it immediately, but over time you'll feel it. A sense of spark returning, a deeper connection to your center, a gentle but unmistakable sense of aliveness. Now, let's walk through how to practice this safely. Begin by sitting on a firm surface. Bring the soles of your feet together and allow your knees to fall outward. Don't force them. Simply let gravity take over. Hold your feet or ankles. Lengthen your spine softly. Take a slow inhale. And on the exhale, begin gently fluttering your knees up and down like the wings of a butterfly. Soft, smooth, rhythmic. 30 to 50 small pulses are enough. If sitting upright isn't comfortable, lie on your back. Bring your feet together. Let the knees drop open. Breathe deeply. Add small pulses only if your body welcomes it. Otherwise, simply rest and allow the stretch to work. This is not about intensity. It's about communication between your breath, your muscles, your pelvis, and your nervous system. Let your body open at its own pace. Let it feel safe. Let it release. This stretch isn't for everyone. If you've had recent pelvic or abdominal surgery, severe osteoporosis, or acute hip or groin pain, speak with a professional first. But for most women, this gentle practice becomes a cherished daily ritual. In a world that constantly demands more productivity, more energy, more resilience, this movement gives you something rare. A moment to return to yourself. Not to push, not to perform, but to soften, reconnect, and listen. Every woman deserves a practice that brings her home to her own body. And if you felt even the smallest sense of calm, curiosity, or relief while watching, don't ignore it. That's your body's wisdom speaking. Start with 1 minute a day. Let it be your ritual, let it be your release, and let it be a reminder that aging is not a decline, it's a deepening, a blossoming, an unfolding of parts of you that have waited decades to be seen and cared for. Your body is listening, and now, perhaps for the first time in a while, it's ready to be heard.